Tonight, we have two guests whose stories will take us to the center of the universe, to the place where the world's moral attention should be focused, to Xinjiang. These two women were both inside the concentration camps. They are first-hand witnesses to the systemic, unimaginable brutality. Witnesses to the attempted elimination of a people, a culture, a civilization. Witnesses to the largest extrajudicial mass internment of a religious minority since the Holocaust. Witnesses to erasure.
Whether
the detainees are in the classroom or outside, they will call up by the number and then taken for interrogations. The intense interrogation room are located just next to the classes, not too far. So after the 30 minutes that the prisoners were taken, and then you will hear a horrible screaming sound from torture, because they are tortured while interrogating. All the female prisoners, their hair was shaved, and they were all wearing grey uniforms. And the top of them, there's a yellow vest, and on that there's a number. Those prisoners are only called by numbers. There are 4 types of torturing methods. One is electric button, electric helmet, electric glove, and a tiger chain. The horrible thing is when those female prisoners were taken for interrogation, they faced gang rape by the guards. And the worst thing is the guards or police use electric button to insert their private parts to rape and torture them. We spent 11 hours in that camp to learn brainwashing education. It includes a history law, and also we have to sing, read songs, and each at the end of each week, and we have to test that about what they have learned. Before eating, we have to praise and say that we are grateful to the country. We are very grateful to China's Communist Party, and we are grateful to Xi Jinping. And off to finish it again. We had to praise them and thank them all the time.
We are deeply privileged this evening to hear from two first-hand witnesses to the Uyghur genocide. We are honored to have with us tonight Ms. Gulbahar Haitawaje, an incredibly brave woman who spent 2 years in a Xinjiang camp. We are also privileged to be joined by Ms. Kelbinur Saduk, a human rights activist and witness to the genocide in Xinjiang. Ms. Saduk worked as a Chinese language teacher for primary school students before she was assigned to work as a teacher in the re-education camp. After seeing and experiencing atrocities firsthand, Ms. Saduk has become an extraordinary advocate for all those languishing under the thumb of the CCP.
Ondan mening putumga kishanni silib kamerga kirib so'libatdi. Bu yerdagi kamerdagi ayollarning ahvoli intayin ichinishlik, butun ayollarning putlari kishanlangan, ona tilimiz bo'lgan Uyg'ur tilida so'zlashimiz cheklangan.
First they shackled my feet and then they detained. The women's condition in the detention centers are horrible. All women are shackled, and our language of Uyghur will prohibit to speak. In order to, with the name of taking us out from the cell and to see the fresh air, but in reality they torture us under 20 Celsius degrees.
2017 yılı 4. ayının 1. günü biz barlıq ayarlarını karvatqı zincirlap koydu. Ben 20 gün zincirlerlik tutudum.
On 1st of April 2017, all women detainees were chained onto the bed. I was chained to the bed for 20 days. On March 9th, 2017, I was sent to the concentration camp, which is the picture shown in Sayvar district, Urumqi, for 6 months.
Bu 4 qavatlik binanın tamның üstülleri bütünlüğü elektron toksumlar bilan qattiq qorşalgan. Tutqun erler putqonlari mana mushundaq zanjirlangan va kishanlangan holda kamerlardagi tam bilan eshikniki tutqichi zanjirlangan eshikdan 30 gradus ochilgan, o'milab chiqidi sinflarga, sinfdan o'milab kamer qaytidi.
Like this, the detainees chained and also shackled. The cell doors is 30 degrees kind of open, so they're unable to stand and walk out and into the cell. So they had to crawl out from the cell, and then they go to classrooms for re-education.
On visiting the U.S. Holocaust Memorial Museum, people often ask themselves, what would I have done had I been alive during the Holocaust? Let history guide us today so that we ask, now that I know what the Chinese government is doing to the Uyghurs, what will I do? This is our never again moment. Thank you, Chairman.
What role does American capital play in subsidizing the ongoing genocide? And should tax-advantaged entities like pension funds or university endowments continue to enjoy that status if they are invested in, even if passively, companies that contribute to the genocide?
This is happening two ways. The American people, us consumers, continue to fuel this genocide through our purchase of the tainted products. We're talking about more than 80 global brands. At the same time, as you eloquently pointed out in the last hearing, that we are investing in not only self-destruction, but also fueling this genocide, the ongoing genocide that is in its 7th year.
Interestingly, in 2019, Chinese officials in Xinjiang stated that the forced internment centers were closed and that the detainees had all, quote unquote, graduated. Dr. Zenz, do these camps look closed to you?
We have a trend, and we have some witness accounts of Uyghurs being shifted from the re-education facilities both into forced labor and into higher security prison. And we can assume that hundreds of thousands have been shifted into these facilities, which have been dramatically expanding.
I want to thank all of our witnesses for their incredible testimony and the phenomenal. The least we can do on this committee is to make sure that in 50 years, when the Xinjiang genocide is remembered as one of the abominations of the 21st century, no corporate executive, no policymaker, no investor, no university president can look their grandchildren in the eye and claim they didn't know. I now recognize
spends on its own military. At the beginning of Xi Jinping's rule,